Hey, it's Doug Cunnington here, and I'm sitting with Rob Atkinson, who is going to be one of our success story interviews. And Rob, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Doug. Happy to be here.
Excellent. And I guess let's do just like a little background. You have been on the blog a little bit, so people should, recognize your face. But can you tell me, where you're from and your professional background before you got started doing niche sites?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Canada, grew up there, moved to the US when I was 10 years old, went to college in California and got an accounting degree. So out of school, I was going to be a CPA, burnt out pretty quick and was like, no, no, no. Took like a more relaxed accounting job for a few years, and then figured this wasn't really for me. So on the side, I was doing niche sites. Had one profitable site and decided, screw it, I'm just going to move to Thailand and try to build more. And fast forward a couple of years, it's been almost 2 years doing like affiliate sites full time. So
Wow, that's awesome. So, um, where are you based out of right now? What would you say?
uh, right now I'm in Thailand. So Chiang Mai. Going to be here at least through October. Going home for a wedding and then going to come back. But before here, I was with my wife. We spent a little over 6 months back in the U.S. But before that, we were in Thailand. So I'd call this kind of our semi-home base for now. It keeps the costs low and lets us keep working on this.
Okay. Well, and I know when you and I first started talking, it was critical to keep the costs low, but can you give us any sort of hint at what your raw revenue numbers are right now, if you're
Yeah.
comfortable?
So like since December, every month since December has been over uh, 10K for gross revenue. Obviously, not the cost.
Sure.
Um, and then ever since about February, it's been over 15. May, I think, hit 18, and that's with a week of like losing my top site. We might talk about that later.
Yeah.
Um, and then pretty much like my recurring costs are somewhere around like 1,000 to 1,500 just in like links and hosting and subscriptions and all that kind of stuff. And then on top of that, if I reinvest in new sites, it's really determined by like how hard I go into new projects, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Okay, so roughly 15K a month. That's congratulations. That's kind of crazy. And when you think back when you first got started, I'm sure you couldn't picture yourself in this position, let alone
No.
like figuring out how to get to that path. Um, and I mean, can you remember when you first heard about niche sites or what the source was or anything like that?
So I don't remember like hearing about. I didn't. It wasn't like called niche site. Like that's not the first thing that came to mind. It was just like do SEO. It was this course called Bring the Fresh. This guy Kelly Felix. He's called like the Rich Jerk or something. He had this little course, and this was back when I got it. It was like right after Penguin had come out, the
Sure.
big like the 2012 Penguin, about a year after that. So everyone was confused. His course was still telling people just throw like automated links at stuff, and then from there, just kind of experimented. And then I think I landed on Niche Pursuits was really the one that got me going.
Okay. Yeah, same with me for niche pursuits. I think I came in a little bit after you. So it was in okay, yeah, it's still recording. Okay. So we had some technical difficulties with the Wi-Fi, so sorry about that. But basically, Rob was talking about how, you know, niche pursuits sort of kicked off this iteration of like actually having successful sites. So, for me, that's kind of when I got started too, when I found niche pursuits, although I think I joined the club a little bit after you. So, okay, so that's kind of crazy. Do you remember the first site that you created, by the way?
Uh, yeah, definitely. Actually, I'm still kind of like creating sites in that niche. So um, the funny story behind it is I created this site back in like the summer of 2013,
Mhm.
and I threw a couple PBNs at it, and I was just discouraged because I just didn't know what was going on. And then I actually gave up on internet marketing, online marketing for like 4 months. I was like, because I was going crazy just putting in weird hours and trying to learn this stuff, thinking I was going to figure it out overnight.
Yeah.
And I come back like 4 to 6 months later, and I'm ranking like number 8 for something for a huge term. And I'm like, what? And then I started throwing like improving the copy, throwing some affiliate links, and then all of a sudden a couple sales start trickling, and I was like, oh dang, let me keep trying.
This works. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Um, very, very interesting. So that was a good one from the, or a good niche from the beginning, and you're sticking with it. So yeah, don't tell me what it is then. Um, okay, so we're gonna change gears a little bit and look at like your actual, implementation of sites and creating new sites and stuff. So out of curiosity, like for your sites now, this is like the middle of 2016. How long does it take for you to see some revenue from like a new site?
It's still quite a while, but to me it depends on kind of the type of site. So my primary focus has been the Amazon affiliate model,
Sure.
and I really haven't seen money earlier than 6 months.
Okay.
And part of it is because I don't really go aggressive with these sites because they're larger and I take a little bit longer to get them going. So it typically takes 9 months to really start seeing positive results. But if I go after, I've started going after these smaller sites that are like targeting a single product. Lot easier to rank. They're only going to make, I say only, but they have smaller potential.
Sure.
And I have seen earnings as soon as 3 or 4 months, but it's not substantial yet.
Gotcha. Okay. And just a quick clarification question. So, for the sites that you were talking about that take, 6 months to earn like anything significant,
Sure.
what do you call significant? And then the follow up to that is it would you potentially see $100 a month after like 2 months or something like that?
So to sort of answer your question, like the significant part, back to like not really pushing these sites hard, like I take them slower. So to be honest, I'm not really getting enough traffic after 4, 5, 6 months. I don't even have affiliate links when I build the sites out.
Got it.
I wait to see traffic. So after 6 or 7 months, like I'm lucky if it's making $50 or $100 a month. Like I'd call that a success.
Okay.
Um, I really don't start to get into like the sweet spot until 9 to 12 months in for the larger sites I build.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. And then I guess are there like sort of key metrics that you're looking at? And can you tell us, excuse me, those thresholds? So maybe it's traffic, maybe it's the amount of content, but you know, when are you pushing on the gas harder?
To get started in a niche.
Or no, like after you've created the site, maybe it's been sitting there for 5 months or 8 months. When do you go back to it and say, all right, now I'm adding the affiliate links. I'm going to add more links. I'm going to do whatever you do.
Okay, so sort of like the beginning stages with these larger sites, I don't really like go as crazy. So I do like some base links like blog comments, social profiles. I've used the Hoth quite a bit, and to me that kind of like gets things moving in the right direction. And then when some main pages are around the 20 to 40 spot, they're still not getting traffic, but this is where the PBNs come in. And usually that's when I start to get close to page one. And then I'd say when a page is getting, I don't know, more than 20 visitors a day, that's when I'd start to think, hey, maybe I should throw some links on here.
Gotcha. Okay. And then as far as content on your site, can you tell us a little bit about sort of the content planning initially? How many articles you have planned? How long is the content? And just ongoing I guess, like keyword research and your overall plan for the thing?
Yeah, so I'll talk about like specifically for the Amazon style sites because those are my
Yes.
favorite. Um, I would say most sites I build are typically they've got to be in the 20 to 40 page range. And when I say that, I mean 20. I try to have websites that are going to target 20 money keywords at least. So I'll usually start with like a big one, like that's like hard to compete with, and then I'll find like some longer tail ones that deserve their own article that are related, and kind of use those as my silos. And then what was the other part of your question? Sorry.
Just adding content on an ongoing basis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, most of my articles, like for the main big keywords, are between probably 2,000 and 3,500 words. I'm starting to make them longer because I have seen that longer content seems to be like the thing that puts someone ahead of someone on first page a lot of the times.
Right.
So I've actually just built out a site yesterday with this big keyword that is my longest article. I think it was like 5,000 words.
Okay. That's cool. I found the same thing, and I sort of tested the theory in a couple spots where I had, I think, like 2,500 words, and then I added like another 5,000, and then I think one of mine has like 8,000. So,
Wow.
yeah, but the hope is competition may take a look and say, well, I'm not even going to try to do that. So
And I've
it's
actually
so
looked
long.
at
But
I've looked at some niches and gone, whoa, that's too long for me.
yeah, yeah, that's the hope. And I mean, you find a good writer, you could just, get that done relatively inexpensively. So, and I mean, I did it over time. It's not like I jumped out immediately with 8,000 words. So,
Right.
okay. So it sounded like, you're initially targeting like, 20 keywords at least. Now, do you go back and add like more keywords as you're going, or are you moving on and building another site instead?
I've done both. So for a site that I had success with, um, it was one of my bigger ones. I had like 40 articles actually targeting keywords. Like when I say targeting a keyword, I just mean it's not an article that's just there as like a value add, not trying to monetize type of article. So it was like 40 articles, and this site was doing very, very well. So I built two like sister sites to this site, but it's only about now they're only about 20 pages targeting because I just basically took the pages that are doing the best. So it really depends. If I've had experience in the niche, then I know I'll kind of trim it down, and then if the site starts ranking, I'll obviously expand later because now I've validated that this site is ranking well. I don't want to waste my money up front on a site I'm not sure about yet.
Right. Okay. And then for the niches that you already know are successful, you're just sort of, picking the highest leverage stuff, sticking with that, and you're just going to leave it be because you probably already got like two other sites in the top 10 there, right? So, still with me? I think I lost you.
Yep. Uh-oh.
No, I think
Am I
you're back
there?
now. It was a long awkward pause. Okay, let's see. Now, I guess, what's your overall strategy for like your portfolio of sites? So, and I'll just say for me, like we were talking before this, and I have too many projects going on, so I'm just working on like one or two niche sites right now. One being slightly more authority than the other, so that's why I say one or two. But essentially, I just try and focus on that. However, I've made it such a broad topic that I'm just going to be able to expand, add more silos, and I can sort of just do whatever I want. It'll be an endless amount of stuff that I can add on there. But for you, I know you have a portfolio of sites. So can you tell us about the strategy there and why you decided to take that approach?
Yeah, so I think we may have talked about this a while back, privately, not on a video, but my model that I wanted to pursue, and I don't know why I wanted to, but was sort of, I use PBNs. I know they're risky. I do have one white hat project that's still kind of simmering. But for me, I kind of like the model of kind of being efficient with creating the sites, you know, understanding that a site won't last forever. And so for me, like, to take a site that's sitting there and to add a ton more content, or to think of, you know, creative ways to make it bigger, it's kind of tough because you never know. Like, it could be, you could put in all this time and work and add on, and it could be gone in, you know, it could be gone in 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. So I chose the model of quantity amount of websites over just like a small batch, for better or for worse, but that's my model. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So let's see, there's a lot of questions that I have about that. So with the PBN model, I guess you're assuming those have a shelf life, and at some point you're going to be penalized.
I think, yeah. I mean, eventually, I think they'll figure it out. Like, when I first got started, like, the biggest thing that I'm getting to now is that I'm getting such a nice positive cash flow off my initial investment. So even if it were to get penalized, like, I have to say at the end of the day, like, I'm happy because I've still got like a really solid cash flow off of it. And this has helped me set up the possibility to keep being in Thailand and now potentially work on more sustainable projects without worrying about where's the next money coming from. You know what I mean? So it was a risk, and it's paid off. It's still paying off, and I still think it will continue to pay off. But yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I know I've been burned by the PBN bug in the past, penalized. So, like I said, I'm sort of focusing on one site, and I'm kind of running a clean shop for the most part. Now, let's jump back a tad. Have you had any sites penalized? Have you, had to go through that pain?
Not recently, but actually back in September 2014, I did have my first and only real earnings site get totally burned through the PBN update. Just like I think you did too, right?
Yeah, I got hit pretty hard. I was devastated at the time. So
yeah, it was, and for me, it was 2 months before we left for Thailand. So I went from having like some income to zero. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely the part that I can't stand. And I think some people, take it too far, because the thing is, I mean, I know that PBNs work, and I know, like, one of your SEO mentors, Matt Diggity, he's a big proponent. And I mean, we all love the fact that people are scared to use PBNs, because then it makes the ones that, are
Exactly.
using them like even more effective. So it's great. But at the same time, you got to know the risk level, and you have to know, like, I mean, you're playing the long-term game, this system works, right? So you can take 12 months to do it. You can take your time on a site, and you can, keep the risk low, knowing that your investment's going to pay off, even if it crashes and burns in 24 months or whatever. So,
Right.
Now, I know we've talked about it before, like, we know this stuff works, right? We know Amazon affiliate niche sites, they work. Do you still sort of like shake your head every time you're starting a new site and say,
Yes.
is this really going to work? Does this stuff work?
Yeah, and so I, like, even going back, before I knew this was going to work, like, the shaking the head was humongous. It was like really, this is going to work? Like, even now, having sites doing well, even in the same niche, I'm starting sites, and I don't think I can do it again.
Right. I know. It's weird. It's really weird. The reality is, really, the headline should be, I worked on a site for 16 months, and then I made $5,000 a month passively. Not, I did it in 30 days, or the headlines we see seem crazy, but I mean, it takes a while to get these things going.
I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think it's the time it takes, is the reason partly why we don't believe it can happen. Because you set it up and you know you're going to have to wait about 9 to 12 months at the least. And that's a commitment. Like that's cash going out that you just have to wait to get back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely it's a long-term play, but if you're looking at, any other business that you might start, you would expect it to take 2 or 3 years for something to get going. So
right.
We shouldn't be surprised, I guess. Now,
right.
If you could go back and give yourself some advice from when you were first starting out, what would you tell yourself?
On a high level, I'd say like no matter where you are, you are on the right path. It's easy to think when you're first starting like you have no confidence. It's hard to believe in yourself. But looking back, like I was exactly 2 years ago, 1 year ago, I was exactly where I needed to be, even though I felt like I was 30,000 feet from the peak, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So more so of a mindset point of view, that's one of the biggest things. With building sites in general, I would just say, and I think based on our calls we did together, like learning how to do systems, like really just let go of the perfectionist, trying to make everything perfect, like building a system and having teams and scaling is so much more important than getting this one little thing right in your business.
To that point, how many people do you have on your team right now?
I only have one dedicated VA that's about 15 to 20 hours a week. And then my wife helps out part-time, and then I'm still doing a lot of stuff. And so the next phase is to get me out of doing a lot of this stuff.
Gotcha. And how many hours are you putting in, would you say?
I wouldn't say as much as you would think. Probably somewhere like maybe 35 to 40.
Okay.
Not crazy. Just that said, though, it's something that's always on my mind. But actually sitting down and like grinding out what you call work, I would say is about that.
Okay. Gotcha. And what's your like ideal work week? Hour.
Well, Monday through Friday is pretty much I'm going to be working. Saturday is a complete off day, pretty much, other than maybe like checking the phone or something on an email. But
sure.
And then Sunday is a half day. But since getting here, we're still trying to figure out like a workspace. So we're doing cafes, and it's been challenging to really not have that set schedule. So to be honest, right now things are kind of just constantly switching. I work different times of the day, and I'm going to get a co-working space hopefully in the next couple of weeks here and really get buckled down. So,
okay. And then, so you're doing, okay, so I have your idea of the schedule that you do right now. Like ideally, what do you want it to be?
I don't think much more than that, honestly.
Yeah. Or I mean, like, would you, like for me, my ideal is like 4 days a week, maybe 6 hours a day. Because I like doing stuff, but I don't want to do it, more. I think that
sounds right, and I think the thing that I'm like constantly like teaching myself to get over is this idea that you need to work 40 or 50 hours a week or more. Some people,
right?
And it comes down to quality over quantity. I'm noticing.
Yeah.
I mean, and so you're 4 days a week, 6 hours a day. That sounds beautiful. And I think it's possible. I really do, if you have the right systems in place.
Right. I mean, I know I waste a lot of time just whatever it is that I'm doing that's not productive. I probably, waste 40% of my time. So if I just did productive stuff when I was sitting down here working, that would probably be about right. So.
Yep.
Okay. So what's your end goal for your sites when you start them? I mean, you do have the portfolio model, and some people are big on flipping their sites after they get them started. But what's your play here?
Cash flow, but I haven't flipped. I've only flipped one actually, and for some reason I've always been just hesitant with the whole PBN thing. It's like a blockade in my mind where, you know, I have these PBNs, so I'm either have to transfer them X amount of PBNs, or I do have some on my websites where I am actually renting links. So I mean, that means I'm still involved in facilitating,
Right.
you know, that happening. So it would be ideal for the cash flow. I don't know. There seems like a lot involved in the whole selling a site thing, even though I've done it once.
And I think, I mean, that makes total sense. I like the cash flow aspect, you know, especially if you're, for me, with a sort of a long-term asset in that I'm not using PBNs or anything. I mean, I could sell it more easily, but I like the cash flow and I put so much time into it. So I'm with you on that. I guess, like, what made you decide to sell that particular site?
It was like I would call it a high risk site.
Okay.
So the product that the niche it was in Amazon, as you may have heard, like a lot of people get their accounts banned. So it was kind of a questionable niche in terms of what it was in. It was solely ranking on 3 sets of keywords, was like 95% of its traffic. It was ranked #1 for all of those. So if it takes a step back, it was like done. And it was just something I was like, I just want to get this thing away from me.
Sure.
So it's gone.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And then let's see, taking a look at some other questions here. What are some other projects that you're focusing on now, if there are any?
You mean other than niche sites?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. I think that's a key lesson right there. I have like 4 other projects that I'm working on right now. So don't start anything new. You're doing it right.
I'll tell you one thing. I keep wanting to mess with paid traffic, do like affiliate paid traffic, and I've been like, I'll spend like 20 minutes a day once in a blue moon, like learning about it because I have this membership to this forum or whatever. And then I realized that to try to do anything well other than like one main thing you're doing, it's hard. So I keep giving it up, and I keep telling myself I'm going to do it, but I don't.
Yeah, I would say stick with what you're doing. You know, seems to be working pretty well. Now, as far as your monetization strategy, like you're big on Amazon sites like I am. Do you have any other areas that you try and get into, affiliate offers or AdSense, something like that?
Yeah, I'm just to try to diversify. I'm building smaller sites based off, like, I'd say generally health products. So there's like keyword around a certain product. It's either health or it's like it's those oh shit problems, you know, like people who go to bed and are like having nightmares about this issue they have, and there's a product to fix it. So I think these sites, they're just a totally different ballgame. Rather than having like 20 or 30 pages and having this big, huge site, these are just 5 to 10 page sites that maybe only are going to make $300 to $500 a month, but I'm just trying to get away from Amazon.
Sure. For the diversity, I know we have a mutual friend who, whose account was disabled for a while, so that was obviously a big issue with the majority of that person's income coming from Amazon. So, for I guess your long-term goals, we haven't talked about this in a while, but what are you looking at, say, over the 6, 12, or 18 months? Do you have any benchmarks you're looking for?
In terms of like within non-financial goal, #1 would be to get an apprentice. So basically have someone do these high-level tasks that you can teach, but it's really hard to say, here's a VA, do a proper on-page audit with like that extra care and attention that only I can do. So that's my non-financial goal. I'm going to give you more like the 12 to 18 month, just because it takes longer to like get these sites. But I'm really striving to push. I really want to hit 50K a month. I think it's possible. I still think I have a lot to learn in SEO and getting better at all aspects of it. So I think that's sort of my financial goal for this.
Okay, so 12 to 18 months, you want to like 3x from where you're at now, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Do you have, just curious, do you have like the a plan in place, like month by month, like I need to start another site by X that eventually will generate X amount of revenue?
No, but I should.
Yeah, we should set up a coaching call. And
I
then
just I just try.
you could tell me what I'm telling you and just say, "Hey, you need to make a plan, Doug."
I know. All I do is I just try to build sites as fast as I can.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because I'm looking at, a similar type goal for one of my sites, and I know, like I said, I'm not starting new ones, but I have the ability to create a silo in something, and I'm sort of like doing the math, like, hey, if I want to hit, 10K for this particular site, I'm going to need to add, you know, four more pillars of content with,
Mhm.
20 supporting articles, and then, I need to break it down from there. I haven't quite done that yet, but yeah, I mean, I guess you gotta you gotta build sites as fast as you can. You may need to add more than one person to your team.
I think so. Yeah.
Now, for your apprentice, will that be like like a someone that needs to locate to Chiang Mai where you're at?
That's kind of the goal is you've got so many people here that are either starting an online business and they may not have a lot of revenue.
Right.
There's a lot of people that teach English, they don't make that much. So there's a lot of smart, driven people out here that would be looking for an opportunity to kind of learn. I mean, I think it's a win-win, right? They get some money, and they get the chance to like increase their monthly wage through me, but they're also learning this skill that they can apply to do their own sites. So
Right. Yeah, I mean the model should work well. I mean, I have thought about pulling in interns myself, paid internship, but not necessarily a full apprentice situation. But I see that would be hugely valuable for you because you need someone that like can develop the intuition from like sitting with you and talking with you. So interesting. Now,
I think I'm my own worst enemy.
yeah, I know that's the same for me too. I know when you and I first started working together, to get out of the weeds was tough, and to like delegate the stuff and get rid of tasks. So I think we have a small delay here. This will be fun to edit.
Yeah, it was. Am I back?
Okay, are we back live now? I think we are.
Am I there?
Yes, you are. You are. Okay, so I'm gonna have to edit a little bit there. Are there any other questions that you think I should ask you, by the way?
Are we recording right now?
Yeah, we are. We're still recording. I
Oh.
mean, I'll edit this. I'll edit this in so you can feed me a couple questions if you have them.
um, no, I wanted to go back to the last point about being my worst enemy is like I genuinely think that if I taught someone what I know about how to like create these profitable sites, like I think they could do way better than me because like honestly I really suck at systems. I suck at so many things I don't even know how this thing is actually working.
Yeah,
So I want someone to come in and be like, man, this guy knows how to create SOPs, like, and I just want to feed this guy information. So
he could set it up. Well, and I mean, perfect example, right? Like you and I roughly started around the same time. You were able to focus on your one thing. You didn't start like an internet marketing blog like I did, so you had more time to focus. You quit your job sooner before I got laid off, like years before I got laid off. And then I don't want to take credit for too much, but I was able to come in and say like, you're wasting your time here, use templates. And then like, here's a flow that should work, see how it works out. Go ahead and try it, and then we could adjust later. And then you were able to like implement stuff really well, better than I did. So, I mean, I think that's a perfect example. You probably can teach someone that'll do a better job than you.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and that point where you got the systems going, not only for the content, how it started coming out more naturally out through my systems that you helped me create, but just in general, that whole mindset shift, I applied it to my whole business. It was huge. Like, I can't even think about where I was back then. It just seems so different.
Well, we have the videos on YouTube, so if you're ever curious, you can go back and watch them.
For sure.
So now this point made, it's a slight digression, but so for the majority of your income is coming from Amazon, and I know you kind of want to spread the risk a little bit by making money elsewhere. So, and I know you said you're not working on any new projects. Do you have any desire to shift a little bit so that you can pull revenue from other sources, or do you have any sort of, I guess, idea to do that sometime in the future?
In terms of just getting out of the affiliate SEO game?
Or like having other affiliates or something to spread your, the risk.
You mean getting away from Amazon?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I think I think I answered it earlier with like the smaller non-Amazon niche sites that I've been building.
Yeah. I guess a little bit. Okay, then reframing the question. Yeah, I guess getting a little bit out of affiliate marketing. I mean, I know you're spreading your risk a little bit more, but I guess, do you see that portion of your like the smaller affiliate offers, the smaller sites? Do you think they can match or overtake what you're doing with Amazon?
I think so, and I say that because I'm starting small, just to give myself confidence that I can go into these niches. Because part of the thing with Amazon is you learn that you can go into certain niches and compete. So I'm learning that I can compete with these other niches, and then I know there are like some medium to higher competition ones out there that are going to pay much higher, and I've connected with some people that are doing really well in non-Amazon niches.
Right.
So it's just sort of getting my feet wet right now. With regards to like kind of getting out of affiliate SEO, I'm very interested in learning paid traffic, but I can't ever get myself to.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to be a huge learning curve, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I've heard of a couple. I mean, I guess it's like gambling a little bit. Like, you have to have the stomach to deal with it and like have money floating for a little while.
Correct.
So yeah, that's not my game at all. I couldn't handle that. Cool. Well, are there any like, parting words you want to, let people know what you're all about?
Me? Oh, I was going to say if someone was starting out and they're just, wanting to, and they're not having success, you really just have to want to go at it and just have to keep hammering away. And eventually, like, it might be a month of shittiness and it looks terrible, and then you'll find like a little gold nugget and just keep on trying. You really have to like want it. It can't be just a side hobby. You have to go all in for it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. And is there anywhere, you want people to follow you or, do anything, any ask that you have for them?
I just have my Twitter handle, but honestly, I'm not too active on it. I should get out there. I'm one of those underground affiliate guys.
Yeah, no, that's what you have to do. I mean, you gotta focus on that. You don't have to worry about the social stuff. So, all right, well, cool, Rob. This has been an awesome conversation. So I'm gonna, end it here. Thanks.
Thanks for having me, Doug.
Cheers.